Hello, welcome back to Balance That. Sorry I took last week off. Had some personal things going on. So, at any rate, welcome back to Balance That. My name is Juan, and today I wanted to talk about shadow work. And the reason why I wanted to talk about shadow work today is because I've just recently had a lot of experience with it personally. Now, shadow work is a very spiritual term. It's one that I don't personally understand the origin of the idea of shadow work other than Jung. I believe it does come from Jung because Jung believed in the shadow, and then the shadow work was facing that shadow side of yourself. And we'll get into a little bit of what he meant by that. And I believe that's the origin of the terminology shadow work. And it is something that's used often in the spiritual community, I've noticed. So what I can say is how it's defined in the spiritual community. So let's jump in. So with shadow work within the spiritual community, because I've been a part of one now for a few months now, several months, and shadow work basically is you diving into yourself and facing your own traumas and coming out on the other side. And coming out the other side healed with an understanding of yourself, far better understanding of yourself, and just being better, feeling better, being a better, more evolved human being. So it's getting over your traumas, essentially. As far as from Jung's approach, I believe shadow work was really about just that, facing your dark side. It's a part of ourselves that we suppress because of societal pressures. So it's not cool just to be out there screaming in the middle of the streets if you're mad at somebody. Fuck you, come here, fuck you, or whatever. That's not cool. I'm sure a lot of people do it, but it's not cool. So most of us probably would suppress that, right? So if somebody cuts you off in traffic or they step on your shoe while you're walking around the street, you'll suppress your rage. You'll suppress that knee-jerk reaction to be like, what do you think you're doing? Right? So as far as Jung was concerned, I think modern science is seeing, we suppress the feeling, but the feeling doesn't actually go anywhere. We just stuff it down within ourselves. So it's stored. It's stored within the body. So that feeling of, that rage, that anger, this guilt even, shame, all these kind of negative feelings that we get, we stuff them inside us, and those experiences stay with us because we don't actually deal with them. We don't allow the body to process them properly. So then those feelings stay with us, and they form another personality, essentially, within us, which is called the shadow. So the shadow is that side of us that we will not allow to be expressed because of societal norms and pressures. So it's our wild side, it's our animal side, it's our angry side, it's our violent side, it's all those bad things, One thing I'm starting to really understand is no such thing as a bad emotion, so to speak. I think there are emotions that we may experience too often, allow ourselves to experience too often, which then could be toxic. It's just like eating food. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with eating a steak. However, in our very rich society here in the United States, you could technically eat steak every night. That ain't good. Steak is one of the most nutritionally dense foods you can eat. Okay? No matter how you feel about eating red meat or being a vegan or whatever. It is one of the most nutritionally dense foods that you can eat. And if you cut out a lot of the stuff that goes along with the steak, like maybe a glass of soda, a bottle of beer, or the carbohydrates you have with it, the body actually tends to digest the red meat quite well. So now I know there's a lot of vegans out there, vegetarians out there. I was one once. When I went back on red meat, I got sick. So you might want to check your facts on that, because I know I got sick when I went back to red meat, but eventually my body did get used to it again. But however, we all know if you eat red meat quite often, you're getting a lot of other garbage with it too, the saturated fat and so forth. So too much, there is such thing as too much of a good thing, right? So I think, and we're back. Okay, so back to my analogy about the red meat. Yeah, you can have too much of a good thing. So you could have this emotion of rage, right? And where rage is you having a reaction to sort of something happening to you. So essentially, we get rageful, like there's anger, of course, but then rage usually comes out when somebody offends you, essentially telling you you're something that you're not, right? You know, like somebody just walks up to you and just tells you you're a loser and you'll never amount to anything. You're like, the hell I won't. You know, so it's like, who the fuck you think you are? You know, so that's just a reaction to someone telling you something about yourself that you just know is not true. That's fundamentally not true about you. So that's rage, right? And it's not necessarily a bad thing to express. It's just that you don't want to act on a rage. You don't want to hurt somebody, kill somebody, or, you know, put somebody in the hospital, you know, but you might want to let them know, hey, you're wrong, you know? So rage, you know, within our society, obviously shouldn't be ever expressed at all. You know, it's just a societal, cultural thing, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what we decided on. Obviously, it keeps violence down, I'm sure, but, you know, it's still a human emotion and it still needs to be expressed. And if we're going to express it within our society, we need to find a way to express rage within our society, which there are ways of doing so. However, what most of us do, self-included, is we stuff it, right? We feel it come up, and then we stuff it. Why? Because we don't want to hurt the person. We don't react to the person. We want to be polite. And, you know, then people, you got narcissists out there that bait you with rage. Like, you're an asshole. What you say to me? And then they'll flip it on you somehow. Oh, I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything wrong. Oh, you know how narcissists are. So, yeah, we got all that going on in our society, right? And then, so the best thing to do is probably just stuff it. Moving along, you know, all the things we learn as children, you know, stick and stones might break my bones, or that BS. I might be dating myself with that one, but, you know, how we learn to basically try to be peaceful and loving as much as possible. And our society is a polite society, you know. It's a polite society, and we try to be polite even to those who are being wrong, because then we're supposed to be above it, right? We're supposed to be above it, and, you know, the person says something wrong to you, says something out of pocket, and then you're supposed to just be like, oh, ha, 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 I'm above that. Now, yes, that's true. Even spiritually, that's true. You want to get to that point, but it takes a while to get to that point, right? But we're expected to be at that point out the womb, and that's not the case with probably any human being, if not most of us, probably not true with any of us, right? So we stuff it, and then when we stuff it, though, it doesn't go anywhere, it stays right here. That's the shadow, and that's the shadow side. And like I said, some psychiatrists believe it actually forms a separate personality within you. So it can actually take control at times. So let's say if you almost get into a car accident at a certain intersection, right? Okay, so now you have that happens. Oh my God, you freak out and you try to stuff it in a way. Maybe you try to be tough, maybe it's just too scary for you to deal with, you stuff it. You know, the ambulance comes, they're like, are you okay? I'm okay. I lived, everybody lived, you know, all that, right? You stuff it, you really feel, you're scared, you goddamn mind, you almost died, you know, but you live, that's great. But we don't take it that way. Don't like, oh my God, I almost died, but I lived, that's great. No, we're like, oh my God, I almost died, stuff it. Oh, I'm okay, I'm fine. Are you okay? Everybody okay? Is everything okay? My insurance, oh my God, what about my insurance? My car's got a dent in it. You know, we don't deal with the emotion, right? So we stuff it. So what happens now, the next time you come to that light? Maybe it's months later. Now, if you process it correctly, maybe nothing. Maybe like, oh man, this is why I almost had that accident. Wow, that's crazy. Or if you stuffed it and didn't deal with it correctly, you pull up to that light, you're probably going to freak out. Because now that shadow side that's within you, that's formed now from you stuffing that emotion, never dealing with you, it's still there. And if these scientists or these psychiatrists are right, not only is it still there, it went ahead and formed its own life separate of you, within you. So it's grown into like this alter ego almost, right? Kind of weird to think about, but that's what many psychiatrists believe. So, psychologists, excuse me. So, here you are sitting at this light, and you start freaking out. You start sweating, and you start, you know, like, oh my God, breathing hard, and you want to just get out your car, right? Just like, I need to get out of here. You think, wait, what's wrong with me? You might not even realize that it's happening. Wait, what's wrong with me? What's going on? And then you might look around and be like, oh, this is where I almost had that accident a few months ago. You see, have you ever had an experience like that? I have. So that's the shadow side. So shadow work is about facing that side of yourself. Facing it, acknowledging it, letting go of the experience, and growing past it, allowing your body to finally process it. So, as some of you who watch the show regularly, or you may have seen that I'm a part of a community called Sacred Space, and part of this community is a brilliant gentleman named Joe Brown, who does somatic breath work. A little over a month ago, well over a month ago now, maybe a couple of months ago now, I did the somatic breath work ceremony with him, also along with my girlfriend Angela and several other people from the community. And it was amazing. Beautiful, wonderful experience that woke up a lot of shit inside of me. I've been living in fear my whole life, didn't realize it to that day. And since then, I've been doing shadow work, and things have been coming up. And I've been dealing with them as they come up. And it's been painful. It's been horrifying. There was a point where I started smoking more cannabis than I normally do. and then I got past it. Still stuff comes up. But now I know how to deal with it. And it's me now finally feeling safe enough to process stuff I've been stuffing basically my whole life. So without getting too personal, let me share with you my personal experience with shadow work, and also how I managed to deal with it. And shout out to my friend Heath Cologne. He helped me out quite a bit too with some meditations that he gave me. Some meditation recommended of dealing around your chakra, specifically the root and the heart chakra. Shout out to my very good friend and proprietor of Sacred Space, Jason, coaching me through certain things, allowing me to also take advantage of his I want to say pool, but it's not a pool. his cold plunge, basically. And obviously big shout out to my girlfriend Angela. She's a beautiful, wonderful person that's coached me through so much through this time. It's been very difficult for me. And obviously shout out to Big Joe Brown. So after that somatic breathwork ceremony, I'll spare you the story. It's in a separate podcast of mine that I did back when I did the ceremonies about 2 months ago. And so basically after that, and I realized what the fear I was carrying within me, and I had these incredible shadow moments. I really needed to do shadow work. So here's some of the modalities that I use to get through the shadow work. Number one, meditation. Meditation was huge for me. I'm a regular meditator since 2017. Since 2017, I've meditated regularly, at least 4 to 5 times a week. All right, especially as of late years, these last couple of years, it's been steady 5 days a week. So Monday through Friday, I meditate. Sometimes even on Saturdays, sometimes even on Sundays. With that, I've become kind of a practitioner of meditation. I'm very good at it. I'm very good at getting myself in a meditative state. Some days are worse than others, but usually I can get myself right there. Whether it's a clear mind state, whether it's an active meditation. A lot of times I have visualizations during meditation. I'm a very visual person. And also on the woo-woo side of things, I believe I very much connect to God and I receive downloads. Point blank period. Whether you believe that shit or not, that's my experience. So anyway, with meditation, it allowed me to go deep within myself. So one meditation that I could recommend is from this woman named Marianne Marco. And I read her book, Medium Mentor, maybe 1 or 2 years back now. And it had this meditation where you imagine yourself in a field. And then there's a hill in front of you. On top of the hill is your dream house. So you just imagine this house. It could be any fantastical thing you want or something very simple. And then you imagine yourself walking towards the house, and you're kind of walking up your body, so to speak, chakra-wise. So when you take the first step, you see red all around you, representing the root chakra. Take your second step, see orange all around you, representing the core chakra. Take the next step, which is yellow. Next step, which is green. Next step, which is blue, then purple, and the crown chakra. In her case, it's 2 different colors. I forget the other color of it, but in her case, she used white. And then white's the last thing you see. You step through the whiteness and the portal, and you're in front of your house. And you can imagine the house looking any way you want. Look around it. There could be a gate there, not whatever. Imagine the door the way you ever, however you want to imagine it. Go through the door. You're inside your house. You're inside your house, and now you ask your spirit guides to guide you, for them to see what they want you to see. And then you imagine, doors, There's a way up. There might be a table in front of you. They say there's a table or an altar of some sort in your house. Leave flowers there, some kind of gift, and you allow your guides to guide you through the house, almost like a house of mirrors, And they will show you what you need to be seen, what you need to be shown. So that worked for me, for sure. And I see some wild stuff. I see past traumas, past abuses I've been through as a childhood, through my childhood rather, as a child. And I saw so much stuff, and stuff that I didn't even know I was holding on to still. Problems with old friends I had, problems with old girlfriends, things from my past marriage. I just didn't know I was holding on to anymore. So all those things came up, and I started processing them. So that's one way. Another way is in the moment, acknowledging in the moment as the things come up. So as you start to face your shadow, and as you start to get into a safe enough place in your life where you can do that, because that's normally when it starts coming up, unfortunately. So you might get out of something really crazy in your life. Maybe you're a veteran in the military, you just got out of a war, maybe you just got out of a really bad marriage, and now you're free and you're divorced and you live on your own. Now all the trauma from the war, all the trauma from the bad, abusive marriage, you're going to start reliving that shit. You're just going to start to. If you never dealt with it during that time because it was too scary or you just couldn't deal with it at the time, you're going to start dealing with it now. And that's been my experience. I'm in a very good, safe place now in my life. Things are going well with my career. Things are going well. I have this great relationship. I have friends. I'm happy. I'm living in a great place. Things are going well with my sons, my parents. Everything's good. Now here comes all the shit from the past. Here it comes for me to deal with it now. Woo! And boy, have I been dealing with it. So sometimes I'll be in the middle of driving. I'll be at my desk at work. I'll be in a supermarket even. And shit will just come on up. And I'll start thinking about something that happened 15 years ago or something. And it'll be like, I'm there again. And it's very much like you're there. Because one thing science has proven is that when your mind starts to relive trauma, like post-traumatic stress disorder, you're there again physiologically. Your body is releasing all the same stress hormones. It's going to that same fight or flight system is getting turned on. Your automatic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system rather, is turning on. And yeah, you're fucked. It's like you're right back there. You're right back with the bullets flying over your head, You're right back there getting slapped by your husband or could be wife too. You're right back there in an abusive situation. You're right back there. How do you deal with that? Well, what we do most times, we stuff that feeling again. Oh shit, what's that all about? Oh, stuff it down. Can't stuff it down. Have a drink. Smoke some weed. Get rid of it. Watch some TV. Something. Work. Let's do some work. Something. Anything. That's where addiction comes from, right? So what do we do? Well, this is what Joe Brown taught me, and this worked for me. So I approached Joe Brown after a month, and he was like, he asked me how things were going. I was honest with him, candid with him. I said, man, and a lot came up. He said, hey, man, one thing that you can do to deal with those situations is this, and this is what he taught me. It's very simple, and it works. Once you feel yourself getting aroused, it's probably because either A, something's coming up, and it's time for you to deal with it, or B, you're in a situation that reminds you of an old situation that's now triggering you, such as within post-PTSD. So what he says is what he does for himself, and what he taught me to do is look around yourself and ask yourself, am I safe? Like, are you actually objectively safe in the moment? If you're not, run. If you are, talk to your nervous system. Take a breath in, look down your belly if you have to, something, whatever. Visualize yourself talking to your nervous system, one way or another, and tell your nervous system, okay, nervous system, we're safe. Thank you for letting me know there was some potential danger around here, but we're safe right now. We can relax. Let your breath out. That works. That works for me. And I've been using that, and it's been great. So thanks again, Joe Brown, for that. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. Number 3, talk to people. Seek professional help if it's really, really bad. Luckily, this time around, I haven't needed to seek professional help. I have in the past. I've seen therapists plenty of times. Talk to someone about it. Talk to a best friend about it. I mean, I have Angela, I have Joe, I have Jason. Find someone that you trust and tell them about your experience. Be candid about it, even if you were raped in the past. Just find someone you can trust to talk about it. And then also talk about your shadow work experience, what you've been going through, what you've been doing. They might even have recommendations or suggestions, Once again, if it's really, really heavy, seek professional help. It's worth it. All right. And then most importantly, be willing to do it. You just gotta be willing to do it. If you're not willing to do it, then it's gonna backfire on you, I believe. I think at first I wasn't, and I was doing weird shit at first. Like, it was just too much for me. I didn't know what to do. I was running away from situations. I was scared. I was trying to take off from work, and I just wasn't ready to deal with it until I just dealt with it. So you have to be willing to deal with it. If it's too scary, yes, seek professional help. Seek a friend's help. Reach out to someone you trust. Because it is scary. You're reliving the worst moments of your life. The worst moments of your life. That's what shadow work is. And it's painful. And it's such a necessary healing path if you're on a spiritual journey, which I am. I know this channel is supposed to be about metaphysical and practical, comparing to both. I did talk about some practical things today, but this is a very spiritual experience for me. And maybe it doesn't have to be. You can do it all through science, psychologically. I think you might be missing out on something, though. Because it's really about letting go of the old and letting in the new. And even science is saying everything that we're seeing, it's about maybe five milliseconds behind what's actually happening because of how our brain interprets things. Even science is saying that we don't even make decisions. Our brain kind of makes the decision already before we make the decision consciously. That's a scientific theory, okay? So there's some science behind some of this stuff, all right? But I think if you just focus on that, you're focusing on the old. The spirituality allowed new to come in, especially in this kind of situation. That's my personal opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. I digress. But I do feel it's a very personal experience, which thus for me made a very spiritual experience. So really get in touch with your spirituality. I mean, if you're a religious person, go to church more often. Talk to your priest. If you're not, if you're like me, more of a new age woo-woo nut, go to your community. Find a community. If you don't have a community, because many of us don't, I luckily do, find it online. You can find it. You can find it online. Try to see where people maybe hang out, see where artists hang out. Artists tend to be very spiritual in this nature. Find it. If you're struggling with an addiction, get into a 12-step program. It's going to be very helpful as well. But it's time to do the work. It's time to do the work. Step forward into yourself. Go deep within yourself and begin the greatest journey you'll ever have. The benefits of shadow work. You don't have to deal with that shit anymore. It brings down your anxiety. It brings down your depression. It helps you see things more clearly. You'll be less addicted to substances. You'll need substances less, Like me personally, I used to like drinking wine while I'm cooking dinner and stuff. Now I don't even want to look at alcohol half of the time, It's also due to the fact that I drink Cava and Kratom now, but, it's even that. I don't depend on any substance to get me through something. Now, to be totally candid, when I first started going through these experiences after the somatic breath work, I did start smoking cannabis more often to kind of get me through. And I didn't mention that as a modality because it's not one. And I think I was using it to suppress some feelings too. But at first it did help me out quite a bit. It helped me, alleviate some of the stress and some of the anxiety I was going through, reliving these moments. But nonetheless, I don't recommend it because I did eventually end up using it to suppress the feelings, which led me to stopping completely from using cannabis, along with any other substances, for a good week, so I could really feel my emotions. But yes, be willing to go in deep in yourself. Be willing to see that dark side. And the benefits of that will be well-being, peace. Oh, peace. One of the best things I've been experiencing is peace. Soundness of mind. And just being able to sit with yourself alone in a dark room and be okay. One of the greatest gifts of all. So do the work. Shadow work. Do it. And also read Shadow Work online. Brought to you from Vital Intellect. spin off of Samurai Punk. Ooh, good stuff. All right, guys, thank you again for joining me this week. I love all of you, and I really do mean that. And I hope the best for all of you too. May you find your path between the metaphysical and the practical to your own well-being. God bless. Love you all.